What's going on, guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I have a training video for you guys. I know I haven't really been sharing a lot of my training lately. I have still been training really hard, and like at the moment I'm doing my own programming, just doing something a little bit different, but not really that different. I'm just going back to training kind of like how I was training prior to my Singapore show. So just really high intensity and keeping the volume a little bit lower because my central nervous system is really taxed this month with the overload of work, just being really busy, traveling, and also just being super exhausted from the shows and just sometimes really just not quite eating enough meals sometimes. So very taxing on my body. So I'm trying to keep the volume a little bit lower. I will be going back to a little bit of a higher volume training eventually, probably when I come back from my trip. Yes, I wanted to share my training with you guys. Today I have a glute focused workout for you guys with a touch of hamstrings. I also have been a little bit slack on filming the training videos just because it's really hard for me to film on my own. It's so much easier when I have someone to hold the camera for me, but obviously Ethan's been in prep and really busy, so I haven't really had anyone to film for me, and so it's been challenging to try and give you guys good training content, but I know a lot of you do enjoy these. So today I will be showing you my glute and hamstring workout and kind of talking you guys through it as well. So I have it here that I filmed it on my iPhone. So it's not the best quality. I'm just going to go through it and then do a little voiceover / talk through what I'm doing, why I'm doing each exercise, and couple of tips to get you guys through it. So basically I've been mainly having quad focus and hamstring focus days for quite some time. I haven't really done a lot of glute work, but I've been wanting to refill my glutes back out again and get nice big juicy glutes. I know they've always been obviously one of my strengths, which I have worked a lot on over the years, but I had to take a little bit of a step back training them just because a lot of my other body parts needed some extra love. But also I have a little bit of a problem every time I train glutes, and that's why I haven't really been hitting them too hard for a while, because every time they get a little bit too big or too tight or just overworked, they start pulling down on my lower back and I get a little bit of lower back pain. So they're quite overdeveloped for my little hips, and then all the muscles around kind of just like struggle a little bit because it's just super overdeveloped there. So that's basically what my physio told me. We couldn't really get to pinpoint exactly what was causing the discomfort in my lower back, but I always found that it happens after a glute training session. It's never during. It's always like, you know, a day after or like that night or whatever, whenever my glutes start to get really tight. And my glutes are insanely tight. I do try to get remedial massage. I go to chiro and I also try to get them dry needled, but my massage guy just always tells me how insanely not only tight they are, but they're really stubborn as well. The muscles there are so thick and dense, which is a good thing for, you know, aesthetics. But when it comes to the health of my hips and my lower back, it's not really doing a lot for it and to keep me injury free. So I have backed off it quite a bit, trying to just work on really loosening it up. It's taken me a lot. It's still really tight. Every time he tries for like a whole hour to really try and loosen it up as best he can, but it's just so stubborn, and it's just, yeah, I get like dry needling and stuff done in there. It's just, I don't really know how to feel about it. I don't really think it's an issue until I start feeling pain. Then I'm like, well, this is an issue. So I'm trying my best. I do use the massage gun on it. I try to roll on a ball. I try to stretch. I'm not the best at stretching, but I definitely try and get remedial massage done as much as I can, and dry needling as well. So that's what I'm doing with regards to recovery. And again, that's also one of the reasons why I haven't really been training glutes a lot, but I have decided I wanted to get back into it. So today's workout is like primarily glute focused. So I started the workout with a little bit of a superset. So the first exercise I'm doing is a cable glute abduction. So as you can see, I'm standing nice and upright, and what I'm doing is I'm using my knee to pull away from the other knee. A lot of people kind of kick a little bit too high and they swing a little bit too much. I don't go overly heavy on this. I really make sure I keep my body super still and just focus on the knee, and I don't need to bring it up too high. If you notice, my hips are also staying quite stable, and I try not to like rocket upwards too much. You want to keep the hips nice and stable and then focus on using the knee to pull away from the other knee. So obviously I do one leg and the other leg, and then I superset it straight into a straight leg kickback. So I always do two kinds of kickbacks, either a straight leg or your traditional kickback. Today, I'm doing a little bit of a straight leg kickback, which means there is no bend in the knee and my body is kept quite upright as well. I'm kicking it through my heels, sliding it straight backwards on a tiny bit of an angle, and really targeting that top part of my glute. Mind muscle connection is key for these two exercises. Honestly, I find any kind of cable kickbacks, abductions, incredibly boring. I've been doing it for years and years. It is a staple. It's something that needs to be done. And I like to start out my workout with these to get the muscles nice and warmed up and primed. And that's why I always start that in the beginning of the workout, get it all activated. I did 2 sets of these. I used to do like 3 or 4 sets, but yeah, I just did 2 sets of this particular superset just because it is a lower volume day and it's all I really need. I literally feel the activation straight away from the first rep. And again, my main goal of this is to just prime the muscles and get my hips and everything nice and loose and warmed up for me to hit the heavier movements for the rest of the workout. So basically, these 2 are my kind of like a primer warm-up exercise, and then I go on to my heavier movements where I'm going for a little bit more weight on there and higher intensity. These 2 exercises are not very high intensity at all, probably keeping it at about I would say like RPE 7 or so. I could easily do much more, but it's all about the mind muscle connection, control, and squeezing. Next, I move into a single leg press. So I have been doing a lot of double leg and very heavy. However, today I wanted to really pull back on going too heavy because just a couple of sessions ago, I was doing 200 kilos for the leg press on the Nautilus. So I wanted to, again, let my central nervous system just chillax a little bit, and so I do a single leg. With the single leg, you're unable to go as heavy as you would like, so it really keeps the ego in check. But as you can see, it's insanely hard, and I really feel these in my glutes. So I love single leg presses to really target the glute. I make sure I put both my feet in the middle of the plate and push through my heels and the outside of my feet, not going too low, and making sure your knees don't go past your toes. You want most of the flexion to come from your hips rather than the knees, so you can target the glutes and hamstrings rather than your quads. So again, for the single leg press, I did 3 sets of those for 12 reps at 40 kilos. So I would still say that's a good amount of weight, so 40 kilos per leg, and I am 46 kilos, so it's like just about my body weight per leg, and I think that's a pretty solid effort. Even though it's not like a very low rep range, I don't consider it super insanely heavy at all, but it was a very intense 3 sets for sure. Next, I move on to a barbell stiff leg deadlift. I prefer to do this on a Smith machine. However, I just have not been having luck. It's always being taken at the gym. It's always being taken by someone who's doing a freaking circuit situation, and they're just literally on there for like 10 years. So unfortunately, I had to go to the barbell section and do a little bit of a barbell deadlift. So I worked up to 2 heavy sets of 10. I actually just miscounted the plates, and I was doing 55 kilos, even though I was aiming for 65, because I'm pretty sure I hit 65 by 10 on my top set a couple of weeks ago. So I just wanted to really solidify my strength and activation and form at this particular weight. And I was just finding it really kind of smooth at 55. And I was like, oh, like I'm pretty strong today at 65. And then I watched the video back and realized I made a mistake counting the plates because I can't count, and I was only doing 55. So that was like an extra set that I didn't mean to do. So I guess it was a warm-up set. I didn't count it anyways. I still piled on the weight and then did 2 proper full-on sets of 65 for 10 reps, and that was it for this exercise. Again, tips for this one is making sure you're using your glutes and hips to be the main mover of the motion. So I see too many people swinging their chest upwards when really they should be letting the glutes be the leader of this motion, and then the chest just kind of following. So at the bottom. I really squeeze and activate my glutes, and I squeeze right up. It's almost like a hip thrust into the bar. So I'm really feeling my glutes in this movement, and my hamstrings as well. So the hamstrings get loaded at the bottom of the movement, and then I use my glutes to pretty much push the weight upwards. And that's how I personally like to do my glute focus RDLs or stiff leg deadlifts. RDLs, whatever. And this is one of my favorite movements to really work on getting stronger in. So this is something that I've been working on this whole year. I never used to do more than like 30 kilos. So it is pretty good that I'm at 65 kilos now for them. Feeling it 100%, really still controlling every single rep. And the goal is to make sure my first rep is as perfect as the last one. And again, not going anywhere really close to failure with this. It is heavy, and it is very intense, but still, because it is a barbell movement, I want to stay a little bit on the safer side, so I didn't really go too close to failure as compared to the single leg leg press. It's easier to push a little bit closer to failure with that one. After that, I was feeling absolutely exhausted already, and I was like literally only like 4 exercises in, and then I just had one last exercise I wanted to do. So we obviously can't miss out on this, the Smith machine hip thrust. So by then, obviously the person who was on the Smith machine was off, so I was like, thank God I can use my Smith machine again. Got it set up. I always warm up at about like 80 and then 100. So for my 2 top working sets, I did 12 reps of 110 kilos, always making sure I really lock out at the very top and tuck the glute under, and just kind of like make sure it comes to a dead stop at the top. And I'm also keeping constant tension this one to keep the intensity high the whole way through. It was a good amount of weight, really heavy, and I was really tired by the end of this. So I made sure that like it was pretty close to failure, and the 2 sets was more than enough for this exercise. And then that was it. So it doesn't really seem like I was doing a lot, but that's pretty much how I've been training at the moment. I think my body just needs a little bit of rest from doing too much. I've been training high volume for really long, and especially for lower body, I used to hit it like 3 times a week as well. So I've really been kind of pulling back on that. I'm still trying to work on more upper body, so I want a lot of my recovery and my body's muscle building abilities to grow more towards my upper body. And also my legs seem to recover a little bit slower as well. It is a bigger muscle, so the bigger the muscle, the more weight you push, the longer the recovery time. So because I've been getting so much stronger in my lower body, especially all my glute movements, I do need to make sure I don't overdo it so that I can recover. So I'm still experimenting with all of these. Time will only tell whether, you know, I've been doing enough, but like each workout is just so intense that I don't really feel like I need to overly do too much. And the next day I was so sore in my glutes. So I knew that it was a good workout, and my glutes have gotten some love that it hasn't have gotten in the past. So basically you get sore from obviously pushing hard, but not always. And also if you just don't really train a particular muscle often and then it gets trained, it's just more likely to get sore. So it obviously has been showing that I haven't really been hitting the glutes a lot. So this time I actually hit the glutes, and so the glutes are sore, and that was a really good feeling. I really enjoyed this workout. It made me feel great. I pushed some amazing numbers, very proud of myself. But more than that, I push the intensity and the weight with amazing form, activation, and execution. And that is key for me and my glute progress. Everyone thinks, you know, if you just, you know, lift really heavy, you're gonna grow, but you won't if you don't have proper execution. And I've worked for 9 years to have such amazing mind muscle connection that I am now finally able to go quite heavy and use a little bit more explosiveness, and my glutes will always fire, they'll always activate, and my execution is 100% on point for all of these. So that's where I'm at with regards to my glute training at the moment. Again, super low volume, but I promise you it was insanely hard, especially for a 46 kilo person like me. And it's very taxing on the recovery as well to do such big movements such as these at that kind of weight as well. Obviously, you know, just 2 top sets. I may probably start introducing a little bit more a back off sets and a drop set. I actually believe that I did do a drop set. Let me just have a look. So I didn't write it in my training log, but I possibly would have done a drop set after my last set of the Smith machine hip thrust. Otherwise I did it in a different session and I just got them mixed up. So this was pretty much filmed last week, so I've been so busy I don't even know what was going on. But yeah, anyways, that's pretty much what I've been doing. So for my leg workouts, generally only 2 very hard and heavy sets. If I want to add more volume, I do a back off set after, or an intensify, which will be like a drop set, static holds, things like that for my leg training at the moment. But it's changing all the time. I will be getting back to some sort of consistency with it, but at the moment this is what kind of works for me. I'll see if I'll go back to getting Jeremy to program for me or not. He's just been really busy, and it's just been easier for me to just program myself, honestly, than just like wait on him and ask him to help me. So I've just been doing it by myself, but I have been logging everything again on my app, so I'm able to like keep a good training diary, even though I do change certain exercises from time to time. But my staples, definitely, like I said, for this particular workout, the hip thrust and the barbell RDLs are something that I've been doing on repeat almost like every single session that I do glutes and hamstrings. So these are the ones that I keep as like my staples, and then I work around the other, I guess, complementary exercises depending on where I am, what gym I'm at, how I'm feeling, who I'm training with. And sometimes, usually for my hamstring day, it's more hamstring focused, so I will do a seated hamstring curl, lying hamstring curl kind of situation. So those 2 are my staples for like a typical hamstring day. So I just basically replace those with the single leg press and the kickbacks. Otherwise I will generally do the Nautilus leg press as well for glute and hamstring day. But again, like I said, because I already did intense leg press for the quad day with Tung the other day, I decided that I'll just do a single leg, and it was still just as intense, and it really does hit the glutes well for me. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed my little training vlog / explanation video. If you'd like me to do more videos like that in the future, please like the video, comment, and I will catch you guys in the next one.